Madame Helena P. Blavatsky, the light of the 19th century. Every 100 years or so, the guides and masters of our spiritual hierarchy decide whether humanity is ready for more of the Ageless Wisdom Teachings, to aid them in their spiritual development. They decide this from the soul star above their heads. In the 19th century, a great light was bequeathed to humanity, to illuminate the dim horizon of the ineffable, manifested beauty and wisdom. Her name was Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. She was a disciple of ascended Master El Morya. She was born to a highly aristocratic family, in 1831, in Ekaterina, Ukraine. Her father was Captain Peter von Hahn. Her 17-year-old mother was Helena Andreevna von Hahn, an author of 9 novels. She was Princess Dologorov, who spoke 5 languages fluently, and was a brilliant polymath. A natural scientist, a well-versed and cultured woman, especially in botany and geology. Helena was prematurely born during a cholera epidemic. Since she was so sickly and puny, they decided to baptize her before she was 24 hours old. At the time, everyone was invited to the ceremony, including all the serfs. Helena's favorite aunt was just 3 years of age. All held wax candles. Helena's little aunt was standing behind the priest. In the ritual, when the evil one was being denounced, the 3-year-old child aunt became drowsy. The candle slanted towards the hem of the priest's robe. Before anyone noticed it, he was enveloped in flames. He and others were scorched. It was a bad omen. The superstitious serfs were convinced that Helena's life would be filled with vicissitudes, that she would have second sight, and would have power over the house goblins, be wise in the way of the witches, and that she would be psychic. As she grew older, Helena became the pet of her father's soldiers. She learned to ride any Cossack horse bareback, and to swear as they did. Most disturbing to the family was that Helena had a troop of invisible playmates. Her favorite one was a hunchback boy, who got her into endless mischief. One thing is for certain: wherever she went, there were raps and noises.
Helena was impatient of restraint. She had to have her own way, at all costs. She mostly bowed to her grandmother's will, but not always. The tyranny of orthodox governesses, who tried to prepare her for marriage, made her teenage life miserable. Her joy came from reading all the hundreds of occult books in her grandfather's vast library, before she was even 15 years old. When one of her governesses said to her, "You will never find a man to marry you, because no one would take such a spitfire as you for a wife. Not even the plumeless raven, Mr. Blavatsky." Helena responded, "I could make Vykifor Vasilyevich Blavatsky propose to me anytime. Maybe the next time I see him, in fact." As the story goes, 3 days later, Mr. Blavatsky called, and he proposed to the 17-year-old Helena. And he had been accepted. But the young Helena had no intention of having sex with him. So, at the right time, she escaped her marriage. Her famous worldwide travels then began. In 5 years, the fearless Helena had circled the entire globe.
Madame Blavatsky was surrounded by many strange stories all her life. At Constantinople, she tried to earn money offered to the one who won the steeplechase, or the task to jump 18 fences, with a wild horse that had killed 2 grooms. She jumped 16 fences, but at the 17th, her horse reared and fell backward and crushed her. Her spiritual master lifted her body from under the horse. He was the same mysterious protector who had previously appeared at other times, especially when she rode Cossack horses and nearly fell off them. In London, She worked as a pianist with the Philharmonic Orchestra of London. It was there where she recognized the man she called her protector, walking in the street with other Indian princes. Her first impulse was to rush forward and speak to him, but he made a sign that held her back. The next day, while she was sitting on a park bench in Hyde Park, this majestic Indian prince, her spiritual protector, sat beside her. He asked for her cooperation in great work for mankind. However, he warned that the task would be far from easy. If she was willing to assist in this work, she would have to spend time in Tibet to prepare for her unique role. But, of course, she was willing to do anything he asked. On Christmas night in 1858, Helena returned home to visit her family, celebrating the wedding of her sister, Vera. Helena discoursed about how magicians can change the weight of objects. All wanted her to demonstrate it. She had one of the young men test the weight of a small chess table. She fixed her eyes on the table with an intense gaze. She then motioned the young man to try the weight again. This time he was unable to move the table from the floor. After several people failed to lift the table, Helena said, "Try to lift the table now, once more." Her brother, expecting it to be heavy, almost lost his balance and dislocated his arm. For now, the table came up featherlight. Her father thought that the event was not worthy of consideration by serious people. Soon after these experiences, a profound wound opened in the region of Helena's heart. She suffered intense agony, followed by a death-like trance. The doctor examining the wound believed he saw a dark, ghostly hand slowly moving at intervals from the patient's neck to her waist. At the same time, the room was filled with noises and strange sounds. The doctor was frightened. In a few days, the wound finally healed. Helena never told anyone how she had come by this strange wound, which continued to open on different occasions. In 1865, Helena lay close to death. But, under the care of her loving aunt, she recovered one more time. It was fairly known that she had been through a great battle with occult forces that had almost killed her. But she emerged from the crisis a complete master of those forces. In a letter to a relative, she wrote, "I am cleansed and purified of that dreadful attraction to myself of stray spooks and the ethereal affinities. I am free, thanks to those whom I now bless at every hour of my life."